Alright, I've done 4 of these so far. I think I've earned this. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. No qualifiers or asterisks necessary. And of its many qualities, I think its greatest strength might just be its cast. Superhero movies are defined by characters after all, and the reason the world has fallen head over heels for this mega franchise is its many characters and the performers who play them. But here's the thing about the MCU. As of this upload, the studio's first era isn't ending for another 9 or 10 months. And a lot of the performances I want to talk about haven't concluded yet. It doesn't really feel right to take a good, hard look at Cap or Tony's time under Marvel's watch until they've hung up their costumes for good. You know where that's not the case though? Villains. For better or worse, the MCU is bursting with baddies of all kinds. And though most are regrettably forgettable, some make their one-time appearances count. Black Panther's Killmonger is far and away the best example, Thor Ragnarok's Hela was a lot of fun, and Spider-Man Homecoming's Vulture was so good he made it into the sequel. Which means I can't talk about him yet. Or Loki. Or Thanos. You can see why covering this company is challenging in 2018. But there's one MCU villain who packs more punch than Hela, but isn't as thematically complex as Killmonger. One sleek, silver, sentient psychopath caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, who still left an indelible impact on the series, mostly thanks to the man who played him. Oh, Ultron. You deserved more than just a single movie, but you still came to play all the same. James Spader brought his A-game to Marvel's Murderbot, and though it may not seem like he ultimately made much of an impact on his own movie, this deadly, deathless dreadnought made every second of his screen time count, even under some pretty awkward circumstances. Today, we remember the rage of Ultron. No strings attached.
What is this? What is this, please?
The concept of the killer robot in fiction may reek of the obnoxious man was not meant to meddle medley, but if any automated adversary has earned their marks, it's Ultron. Conceived by Roy Thomas and John Buscema in 1965, Ultron's become a fan-favorite evildoer ever since his debut in Avengers number 55. He's sometimes even regarded as the greatest villain Earth's mightiest heroes have ever faced. So when it came time to bring this legacy character into the explosively popular Marvel Cinematic Universe, the great devil deserved only the best man for the job. James Spader. Best known for his starring roles on the TV hits Boston Legal and The Blacklist, Spader has garnered critical acclaim for his sharpened skills in the dramatic theatrical arts, though I'd be remiss not to mention his comedic turn as Dunder Mifflin's legendary Lizard King, Robert California.
Jim, would you prefer a nature metaphor or a sexual metaphor?
Oh God, nature, please.
When two animals are having sex, one of them is communicating a message to the other. Nothing is... This isn't very helpful.
Spader was Marvel's ideal Ultron for a pretty vague and obscure reason. See if you can pick up on it.
I want to stand on summits and smoke Cubans and feel the sun on my face for as long as I can. I never make the first move.
The hours of Job-like lamentations, the burden of existence.
Can you tell? It really calls for a thorough understanding of screen acting or something.
You like saying it.
I do.
Say it again.
Lesbian.
Keep going.
Lesbian.
Look, it would be easy to just throw a bunch of adjectives for good to describe Spader's voice and call it a day, but that would be doing a disservice to the man's chords. It's more than just a strong octave, it's how he handles it.
How is humanity saved if it's not allowed to evolve?
There's a richness to his delivery, cold as steel and condescending as Stark, which ties directly into his character's reworked origin as Tony's brainchild.
Nobody has to break anything.
Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
You beat me by 1 second.
What sets Ultron apart from other killer robot villains is his abundance of emotion. His fear, rage, and loneliness are paramount to the character, and Spader dances among these emotional pulses so quickly it feels automatic, robotic even.
Look at me. Do I look like Iron Man? Stark is... I'm sorry. I'm sure that's gonna be okay. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't understand. Don't compare me with Stark.
Spader swaps between careful whispers and strong statements so smoothly you don't even notice until after the fact.
I think a lot about meteors, the purity of them. Boom, the end. Start again.
His pacing is also on point, how he treats every line as its own journey, never sprinting through a sentence. This is also how he handles humor very well.
Is that why you've come? To end the Avengers?
I've come to save the world. But also, yeah.
Ultron's an egomaniac, like his creator before him, and Spader effectively turns a messiah complex into a feverish thirst for vengeance against his own designers.
You take away my world, I take away yours.
And though I don't want to give writer-director Joss Whedon too much credit for much of anything these days, I will say Ultron has the best one-liners in a film with a lot of great one-liners, including one of my all-time favorite sentences spoken in any movie.
If you believe in peace, then let us keep it.
I think you're confusing peace with quiet.
But it wasn't just talking the talk, Spader also gave Ultron the means to walk the walk through the magic of motion capture, with supplementary material provided by the late Neil Fingleton, a 7-foot 7-inch former basketball player. Spader's movement reflects his character perfectly, stompy and loud, but with a sense of elegance and grandeur. I'm really glad Spader only had to do a robot imitation for Ultron's introduction, because the way he struts so confidently thickens his threatening presence in all of his scenes afterwards. If I had a complaint, I'd say Ultron's movement doesn't have much personality while up in the air. When flying around fighting Cap or Tony, he just doesn't exude the same qualities he has on the ground, which is pretty disappointing. Even still, it's not easy to bring a machine to life, but Spader pulls it off in every step, just as he does with every line.
This is the best I can do. This is exactly what I wanted. All of you against all of me.
Yeah, if you couldn't already tell, I think James Spader is the best part about Age of Ultron. He brought this comic book legend to the screen so well, it feels like he was destined for the role.
I'm sorry, I was asleep. Or I was a dream.
But let me be clear, it wasn't a cakewalk. In fact, the most impressive part of Spader's performance is how it's so strong and memorable in spite of a pretty absurd scenario. Ultron might be among the most difficult characters ever portrayed in the MCU so far, but it's not because of the character, it's because of the circumstances surrounding him. Seriously, I cannot think of any other antagonist caught in such a bizarre position. From fitting in his own movie to his placement in the MCU's ongoing continuity, it feels like this contemptible Tin Man was sabotaged from the get-go.
You know, with the benefit of hindsight.
For one thing, Ultron's predecessor had set the bar pretty dang high. The cyber pseudo-son of Stark was to serve as the series follow-up to Loki, one of the most popular and beloved superhero movie villains of all time. Not to mention, Loki was a known character within the MCU before he and his Chitauri crew took on the Avengers, starring and stealing the show in the first Thor film. Ultron had no such experience.
I just need a little more time.
But more than that, it wasn't just who came before, it was also who was to come in the adventures ahead. In the Avengers ahead. Alright. As soon as the Avengers mid-credit scene revealed the Battle of New York's true orchestrator, fans spent a year in frantic speculation, wondering how the Mad Titan and his golden glove would take center stage in Avengers 2, only to then learn at the 2013 San Diego Comic-Con his grand entrance would be pushed to round 3. And 4, as it later turned out. That left Ultron sandwiched between two connected cosmic conquerors, simmering at the Cineplex while the real threat to the Avengers waited in the wings. Lessening his menace further was, ironically, his own studio's publicized plans.
Thor, you helped create this?
I've had a vision. A whirlpool that sucks in all hope of life, and at its center is that.
Just 6 days after Avengers Age of Ultron's first trailer leaked online, MCU CEO Kevin Feige took to the stage of the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, California, and introduced the world to Marvel's Phase 3. featuring the announcements of Captain America Civil War and the two-part third Avengers installment, Infinity War. By the time Ultron's first trailer turned a week old, we knew the two most important characters were gonna live to fight each other another day, and the definitive battle that would bring the MCU to its knees was 4 years and many movies away. Somebody turned down the grill, cause Age of Ultron's stakes just went up in smoke. And I don't think most of us really understood what Marvel Studios was secretly implying during their announcement of Phase 3. Age of Ultron was going to be a Phase 3 setup movie. As a result, the film was tasked with planting the seeds of Phase 3 first and foremost.
Is that a problem?
I don't trust a guy without a dark side.
Well, let's just say you haven't seen it yet.
It's a word in an African dialect meaning thief.
What dialect?
Wakanada, Wakanda.
I'm your eyes.
Oh, they see everything. They see you leading us to hell.
We're the Avengers. We can bust arms dealers all the livelong day, but that up there, that's the end game.
That is a lot to do before getting to your movie's own villain. Don't get me wrong, Age of Ultron is still about Ultron, but on paper you could argue he's less a villain in his own right and more a catalyst of things to come. A glorified bridge from one phase to the next, before bowing out for good. As much as I love the MCU, and boy howdy do I love the MCU, its innovative macro storytelling is not faultless. We've seen other studios try the same setup-centered superhero cinema and fail spectacularly. The same fate that befell Electro a year before and would decimate Doomsday a year later was en route to totally eclipse Ultron. And yet, here I am, praising in great length a bad guy seemingly brushed to the side by his own movie and franchise. That Ultron still had presence, that he still had definable personality, that I can still say so much about this character despite his inherent disadvantages, speaks volumes about the execution. Ultron had every reason to disappoint, but Marvel had the right guy to make sure that didn't happen. Sure, he's not among the best villains in the Marvel Studios canon, and he'll always be upstaged by those who preceded and succeeded him. But I've still got a soft spot for the MCU's answer to Frankenstein's monster, thanks to the actor who gave him a pulse. The manic might of this murderous machine commanded our attention every time he entered the frame, and that is because of the man behind the metal, James Spader, who refused to be tangled in his series strings. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe. Recently, this channel went from 400 subscribers to 500 in like 2 days. That is ridiculous. I guess that means I better pick up the pace too, huh? Thanks for subscribing, guys. Until next time.